Welcome to the Tuesday podcast, which is Cat Nat Chats, where we talk about anything that's on our minds, anything that's on your minds, and anything that is going on in pop culture that we need to discuss. And today, it has been so timely that everyone is talking about what's going on with P. Diddy. And if you think your kid doesn't know what's going on, I've either heard fake news, real news, or the real news that sounds like fucking fake news because it can't possibly have happened in 2024 with so many people knowing and nobody doing anything about it. If you don't know what's going on with the P. Diddy shit, we're going to give you what we know, and we're going to weigh on.
This is really just it is updating constantly. Like, things are coming out constantly. And when I was thinking, Hassan, our makeup artist, texted us and said, "Oh my God, this Diddy thing is insane." And then Natalie's like, "Okay, I don't really understand what's going on." So I said, "Okay, let's regroup here so we can all have a conversation, because it really is crazy." Someone's sort of equating it to like Epstein again, sort of, that we're unfolding.
Totally. And all the involved parties and all the disgusting things that are going on, all the lack of consent. And what I'm hearing is the charges, but I'm not understanding how this shit went down.
So, okay. This is just there's no one. I think he's formally charged, but I'm not, like, obviously it's accusations. There's no, this is all just speculation at the moment. Okay. And me trying to catch up on years. This is years. Speculation is right now that he is about to go and unseal everybody who was involved. Videos are being leaked. The latest video I have seen is Kevin Hart hosting a freak off party. Okay. So what is a freak off party?
I'm just going to go back. I remember I don't know if it was last year, that basically there was like a huge, what was I going to say? Some takedown of the house where all of his children were on the front lawn and they were getting out, and it was like a major, I don't know what the word was, but basically it was a takedown bigger than a small thing. So everyone's like, what the fuck is going on? And that's when it all ignited. And then we haven't heard a ton about it, but now I guess he's being formally charged. So it's all coming out.
He's in jail.
Yes.
Like, he's actually being held in jail.
So I'm at a cocktail party. When am I fucking grown up? I'm at a party on Friday night, and we're sitting around of these adults, and they say a freak out party.
Freak out party.
I need to know what a freak out party is. I have absolutely no idea.
So there's footage of Kevin Hart at the freak out party, and it sounds like there was multiple things that are like they're trying to unweave, and there is so much more that we don't know. But a freak off was women sort of everywhere, orgy, or it was a giant orgy. But a lot of the women were drugged heavily, and there was bathtubs, and there was
thousands of bottles of baby oil.
Thousands were just taken out of his home. And the freak off party was where it sounds like celebrities would come, and it was just a giant orgy. There was beds. Sometimes it would go on for days.
Would they take place always in P. Diddy's house?
I think some of them would. Like, then there's also a white party that happened in the Hamptons. So there's like two kinds. You remember the white parties? Yes, you do.
Of course I do.
Yeah, so the white
They're
parties.
affiliated?
Yes, in a way. So the women in the freak off parties were often drugged, and this is a full trigger warning, held abusively, like with guns and violence. So they were kind of held against their will, and he would film it for his own pleasure. So he was filming these acts for his own pleasure. And then there's the layer of his girlfriends in on this too. And then there's other allegations of him using his celebrity status to like get deals or sign people, and then in turn sexually assaulting them and raping them via I want to say offering them something like, this is what you do if you want this. It goes, and then he has other people alleged with that in the record label situation. So there's so many layers. Now, his girlfriend had signed an NDA, which means she could not talk about what had happened when she came out to say, like, he did this to me. She signed something, and he was like, this is fake. They settled out of court. Then the video leaked of her being fully abused because he was like, I never did that. And the video is like horrifying to watch.
Oh my God, it was in the elevator.
And then down the
God,
hallway.
I forgot about that.
And she's like, this was always, and he often held women against their will. And so that got leaked. And then other women, back to like minors, he's done things to. It goes on for years.
And also so many celebrities were aware of this. And I guess when our friend texted us yesterday, he's like, oh shit's really going down now. Even Pink has wiped her Twitter in regards to it. Like the amount
that's an assumption. And they're like, no, that's not.
Okay.
Why? I can't. Pink?
I know. So what's the video where P. Diddy is asking Justin Bieber why he doesn't want to come to parties anymore?
So he's 17 and it just is weird and Justin feels so awkward and you're watching Justin be like, I like not even hit puberty. Like it sounds like he's like, I don't know. I didn't have your number and you were calling my people. Like, you don't even call me anymore. And he's like, I don't know. Like he's like a baby just being like, I don't know. Like it's sad to watch Justin where it's like kind of like the predator strikes again. They're looking for anybody, any footage they're scrolling through. They have an old footage of, actually it's not that old, of I think it was Wendy Williams, someone asking J-Lo about P. Diddy and being like, you're getting back together with him now. And it scans to her mom, and her mom is like, absolute, like his name is dirt to me. Like,
so J-Lo knows.
For sure.
Oh my God. Is she going to have to say?
Or what she did to, they dated a long time ago, but I mean, what's going to come out?
And his sons are, well, at least one of his sons are involved as well, which would make sense if they're, and
if you look at the Kevin Hart video, it's like live streamed and you see girls.
What was anybody thinking live streaming?
They got away with it for years.
You know what? Thank God they did. So
why do you mean thank God they did? Oh, thank God they live streamed.
So Kevin Hart, oh God, remember when he got in trouble and his own friend set him up and put a video camera and then showed him cheating on his wife.
Oh, well, he's screwed.
Aired it. Now, is P. Diddy and all these people total disgusting psychopaths, or is this like the idea of like you get a certain amount of power, you get whatever you want, and you just keep pushing the envelope and live like. Because I know that's crazy because there's so many rich people that would never even consider this. But like, what's wrong with him that he had all the success in the world? He had 4, like 6, 7, however many healthy children. He's got a great life going on. Why do you go and fucking do this?
Power. I think that he was
like Epstein.
Yeah, and he was filming them for his own pleasure. Like he kept the videos. How much
time did he have to host these parties, do the freak out parties, then have time to go and sit back and watch them? Like, isn't he a businessman?
Apparently, but who knows how he made money off of this too. Crazily enough, there's men that have come forward too and said that there's a lawsuit with Derek Lee Cardello Smith. A lawsuit was filed by him. He claims Combs drugged and sexually assaulted him at a party 30 years ago. And he was awarded $100 million default judgment after Combs failed to appear for a virtual hearing. He has a payment schedule of $10 million per month for Combs, slated to start on October 1.
That's just one. And
during
that was 30
a night
years
of
ago?
drinking and weed smoking, they reportedly had sex with a group of women. Said that he felt a man's hand, which he claims was Combs touching him. The suit also alleges that Combs served him a spiked drink that caused him to pass out. When he woke up, Combs was having sex with a woman and allegedly said to him, I did this to you too.
So now this guy has $100 million and he's one of how many people? And it's because Diddy didn't want to show up?
This man's also convicted felon and sexual predator who has been sentenced on 14 counts of sexual assault and kidnapping over the last 26 years. He's in jail too, but he is winning the suit. There's another man who's come forward, Little Rod Jones, who said that Jones alleged she was subjected to unwanted advances by associates of Diddy at his direction and that he was forced to engage in relations with sex workers Combs had hired. said that he sexually harassed, drugged, and threatened him for more than a year. And that was the other thing. He comes back apparently and like harasses you if you don't do what he says.
This is so scary. Oh my gosh. I can't believe people didn't come forward more often, or did they and they weren't believed and like they just needed enough to come and get it. But holy shit.
And 50 Cent's mother of one of his children, Daphne Joy, is one of the alleged sex workers that was involved in it too.
So he married one of the sex workers.
Prince Harry's mentioned. The lawsuit also alleges that Combs regularly hosted sex trafficking parties with underage women and illegal drugs, and implies record label executives who looked the other way financially benefited from access to celebrities and dignitaries, including the British Royal Prince Harry. Prince Harry is not accused of any wrongdoing or of attending parties himself. Bold.
I'm sorry. What? How did those two?
Maybe because if you went and did it, you had access by way of power. So if you got in the circle of like these orgies, then Diddy brought you into a circle and then you got to go party with other people. Maybe it was like a gateway. Like he promised you access to famous people if you were part of like the initiation of the acts.
Where does obviously Diddy lives in LA. Like I'm just like, it's funny. I remember seeing the neighbors be interviewed, and they're like, these like limos would show up with all these girls in the middle of the night, and they'd go in and they wouldn't come out for days. And they're like, if we thought it was weird, if you think it's weird, guys,
it goes on and on. Like bandmates are coming out saying that he was physically and verbally and all sexually, it is going. If I go like this, all of the people coming out, it goes on and on and on. I think what the problem was that he drugged, sounds like he was drugging people for the benefit of his.
Sounds like it was more than just that.
No, I'm saying part of it where you can be like he drugged multiple people.
Mm-hmm.
You can't drug people and then ensue sexual acts on them without them knowing. That's not okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Now just when you're saying that, I'm sitting around. So that's our Diddy, and we have.
Well, you think about it. You're invited to a party with all the celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know that what's going to go on there.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, let's go to a party.
Yeah. I'll go to the party.
Sounds like so much fun.
So of course I'm going to go to the party. But if I end up.
Not the party that we just heard, but like if you're like out, a young girl in LA and famous people are like, hey, we're going to Diddy's to party, and you have no idea. You're like, oh my God.
I mean, I feel like I'd go, but then I feel like I'd come back and I would tell everybody what happened, including the police. I would hope.
I think when it looks like a party and you don't know that they're maybe drugging them, you're really just kind of like, that was weird. I'm not going back to that. Like, kind of like
I'm not going back
that
to
was
that.
Weird. What was that?
But probably a lot of people did go back because just like being invited was, the scary thing about all this is too, like, so now this has happened in not too many years with Epstein and him. It's like if it's happened, there's so much more. And if all those celebrities knew that it was okay and happening and he was getting away with it for years, some of them were probably hosting them too. Gross. Just gross. Okay. I'm having, at the cocktail party, they're like, oh, and you heard about the French woman.
What about the French woman?
They're all like, we know about the French woman. There is a 70-year-old French woman.
Oh, this is terrible.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That one's terrible.
So just as this is what they tell me is that there's a 70-year-old.
You like need a trigger warning on this one because I read the whole article. It's very disturbing.
So she's been married to a man for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
For 30 years, he's been drugging her and inviting people into the house to rape her. She doesn't.
And they knew it because he wrote it in the text message, and they ranged from 17 to 70.
Did they pay him for it?
I don't know, again, if this was a situation where he filmed it. He filmed it. And then I think he uploaded it or something.
And so she never remembered any of it because she was completely drugged.
Passed out.
Yeah. And that's a lot of years for nothing to happen. But there was a doctor in the room, and she said it's pretty unbelievable what, there's no way in all those years that she didn't know that something wasn't right and wasn't going on. But you can convince yourself anything to not believe the worst could possibly be it.
Well, and if it's incomprehensible, like if it's incomprehensible for your brain, that's kind of. Do you think of how many people live? Here's the thing.
And they had kids or they have a daughter.
Yeah. he's like, I'm very sorry. I loved you very much. And she's like,
Do they have a photo of them?
yeah. Because she came out public. They were going to keep her private, and then she came out public.
How did she come up with the truth?
I think he was uploading it to like the sites, and someone came across it. Like they found it.
So they lived in a small town in France. And remember, I was telling you that I was
in Provence.
In Provence.
Rich.
Oh, they were rich.
Well, no, but it's like the rich people were like, it was all. So the bigger issue they're saying is,
yeah,
how many men went knowing that she was unconscious, and
Tons.
how they're all being charged, and how the bigger issue is, which I think we all need to have the conversation with our son. Maybe not that exact like whole thing, but the ownership over a woman's body because she was married and the husband offered it, gave them consent via him because she was married. So because her husband said it was okay because she was passed out, it made her body okay. They couldn't draw the line.
And it went on for that many years.
Yeah, and that many people came.
So, but ironically, when people are telling me this, you know, I was just watching this documentary on one of the biggest like French like crimes to happen. And it was, I told you, it was in a small town in France where people were like a couple was offering up their children, and all the 18 different couples had come to be a part of these orgies that included children.
Yeah. People are fucked.
And the police guy who was there is like, I mean, there's not that much crime in this town, but the majority of the crime that we're dealing with is a lot of sex abuse and parents with their children and all this. I'm like,
we're never moving to France.
Catherine and I, guys, while we're on it, I'm very torn if I want you to watch the Menendez brothers.
You know what? I need nothing.
No, you don't need. The first couple of episodes, I was like, oh yeah, you have to see this.
She's talking about the Menendez brothers.
Yeah, it's called Monsters on Netflix, and I feel like everybody's watching it. And the thing is that I don't know in a long time. I used to like my favorite movies. I think Leonardo DiCaprio is a really good actor. And I think the movies that he plays in are really good.
Oh, he's part of the big scandal too, by the way. Obviously.
Not
obviously, that was me, but I mean, he has girlfriends that are, they make jokes about him never having a girlfriend over the age of 19 or something.
And once they get over an age, he has to go and get a new one. I've been watching it. I thought it was going to be like documentary style. It's complete drama. Everyone's an actor. There's no clips of like real life or real trial or anything like that. What I will say is, the acting and the I'm not like a movie person, but the directing, the acting, the producing, it is so good. One episode was basically a monologue from one of the sons, and I would only assume that anyone who knows someone who's been sexually abused or is someone who he sat for an hour and he probably like put so many touch points of validating how people have felt, like all the different ways that he justifies it, why he still loves his father, why this happened, how it felt he's sitting in jail, he's talking to the lawyer, you only see the back of the lawyer's head. He's so good at it. And I just feel like that episode could be so important for so many victims to watch.
So Natalie loves crime.
And this is very different than crime, though. I have realized I was hoping it would just be crime.
And the two brothers end up killing their parents, and they were very rich, and it's a very famous story. But you watch it to feel normal. You watch crime to feel...
This has pushed me a little past my limit, Catherine. I don't feel the same way. I love watching crime, like Dateline and stuff, because I feel like, well, look around my cute house. Everything's safe and good. I feel good. I'm not dead.
Because I'm always like, is it me? You do it through crime. When you're like looking for like, are you normal? You just go watch some crazy ass shit and then you feel good. You're like, yep, we're good here.
Everything's safe.
Your baseline.
Until it's not.
Your baseline is like, so hilarious. So now this was not what you expected, but very good.
I just, I know a lot of people are like, it's 9 episodes, so I didn't really want to watch it. You're out of the mainframe. Oh. I don't know how. I can't, it's crazy. I'm like, I don't know if this sounds crazy, but from what I'm watching, and I know this is a drama, and some people are like, there's blatant lies.
Yeah.
Those parents deserved to be killed. And unfortunately, I'm not sure if if the sons had tried to tell the truth, that they would have been believed, or that their parents wouldn't have killed them for trying.
Gosh dang it, Natalie. How are they so rich?
He came from Cuba with like nothing, and he was just one of these people who's like, the most important thing is for me to be successful. And he got into the music industry. He didn't know shit about it, but he was very good at convincing people.
He was a con artist.
But he was also good at doing things. He wasn't a complete con artist. Like, he was, as far as where I am in the episodes, everything he was doing was legit. Like, he was working with real business people in the music industry. And just now we're talking about just bringing in the Cuban music, and he's Cuban. So he's like, I'm the person that you should partner with for this.
And what's it called? The Mendez Brothers.
It's actually called Monsters.
Monsters. I don't know. Hold on. We'll take a quick break.
This actor should 100%. I don't know what you get. Do you get Emmys for?
Yeah.
I've never seen him act before. He deserves the best. I mean, the tears pouring from his eyes, the shame that he like is able to portray, the shame.
Does it like put things in you that you can't get out? Do you know?
I know what you mean.
Because this is a thing with kids. If they watch things too young, it's like you can't process it. Like, there's some things you just can't, again, comprehend. Like when that doctor is like, I can't believe she didn't know.
Yeah.
But your body just shut. It's like, I actually can't process this, but it sits here and you can't process it. And so you sit there and you're like, oh my gosh. There are some things that I think, like, I have watched or seen that I just have never processed. And it's like, it sort of becomes not normal, but it becomes a conversation you can have without it really understanding the magnitude of what it was.
I think, okay, so something like Dahmer, immediately I watched the first few episodes and I was like, this is not for me. I do not like it. I don't like I won't watch Datelines where children are killed.
Okay.
Like, I can't do that. I can't do that. What this is I think it's going into like, I am aware, and unfortunately, that this happens a lot more often, not the murdering part, a lot more often than people talk about.
So
I think it's important. I think
like
it's
molesting children. Yeah.
Molesting children, and
like within families.
Yep. And then the idea that, like, for kids being confused whether they like it or they don't like it, or I still love my parent after they did it. Like,
that's what you like about it?
It's not really, I think
you're intrigued.
But I'm also like, I feel like this would be really helpful for some people to watch. Not me, because I don't have that experience. I'm watching it for the acting. I'm watching it for the understanding of the story.
The thing is with everybody who has a story, which everybody has a story of some kind. I'm not of that background, but of any kind. Everyone's lived experience is so different, and what makes you feel safe and normal or validated, or some people need it to be just their narrative. Like, they can't take in other people's narrative. Everyone's lived experiences are so different, but I think what you're saying is it might be helpful. You're understanding it from other perspectives.
Yes.
And it's helpful for you to learn about the other perspectives, because you might have never have thought it that way, where someone who's experiencing it, they probably are like, yep. So it might be helpful for people in their lives to go watch it.
Yeah.
So they can be like, oh, I get it, because it's so hard to get.
And what I think he does in that episode gives people who, like, let's say someone in your life, or you're going to know someone in your life, or perhaps it happened to one of your family members or your children, having the episode's called The Hurt Man, having the understanding of a victim so deeply to, like, the details. It's almost like he's saying it like it was he stumbles over his words. He says things twice. He tries to stop and start. Like, it's like
he experienced it.
It's like he experienced it. It was really hard. And like, when my kids came there, I immediately turned it off. I didn't want them to see like that. But for me, as an adult who hasn't really ever known what it's like to be in a family like that or feel those things, it was really, I mean, I just think the actor is such a beautiful
Question for
actor.
You. Sleepovers leading to from all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a yay or are you a nay on sleepovers? This is such a controversial topic. It's so crazy that this was never even a thing.
I really dislike the idea of sleepovers.
What about at your house?
oh, I don't want any extra people in my house. Fuck, there's not enough space for these. You know what? They just stay up too late. I don't mind. Of course, like, no, there's too many people. There's too many people in my house. There's too many people in my house for a sleepover. Listen, if Taylor has someone sleep in her bedroom and they have the door closed the whole time, it's just the two of them. I don't have to see them.
It's a girl, by the way.
It's
like
a girl.
Good friends.
I'm not like, I mean, our kids just aren't really like that. So I haven't had to really.
Hilarious. We have 7 children.
Yeah.
And
it's really weird.
None of them like sleepovers.
Because you know those people who love sleepovers.
Oh, absolutely. All the time. Sleepover.
They want them Friday and Saturday.
Yeah,
they want them on everything. They beg their parents for another sleepover.
Yep. They're terrible.
Ugh. And then they come home and they're so tired and they pulled an all-nighter.
I think some kids aren't terrible. My kids are horrific tired. Actually, Max likes a sleepover sometimes at one or two of his friends' houses. But like, I'm like, where do you sleep? Is like the couch. I'm like, that sounds terrible for someone who's already sensitive to climate change. Which I mean is like he gets sick. He's just sort of like a more sensitive being. I'm like, it's just not worth it to me because I have to take care of you the next day. It's just not worth. Not much is worth it to me. My daughter has one. My little one has such. They're such a good sleepover pair where they both call it a night at 9 p.m. They're so reasonable. Like, I'm tired. They're the same brand of like, and they sleep in, they wake up.
And you have space for that second one to have a really nice cozy bed.
Yeah, they make breakfast together and then they go watch their show. Like they're very easy. I've got one or two, and obviously Taylor would always be welcome to sleep over. She would never want to. I've got one or two who come and stay and they go to bed because it's not like they're always at the house. So it's not like, oh my God, let's be bonkers and stay up all night. My kids don't want to stay up all night. My kids all are like, I'm ready for bed. I mean, we were out Saturday night and I get a text message from Max at like 9:15. He wasn't feeling 100%. He's like, I'm going to go to bed. And I'm like, love that. Like you're home alone. You like with your sisters, you could do whatever you wanted. Heading up to bed. I didn't even text him like, are you going to bed? No, I'm going to bed night. I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah. I feel like with everything that we know, like,
but you don't care about sleepovers from a perspective of safety. It's inconvenience.
You know what? If I really were to think about it, I also don't like that either. I don't like that there's a dad and I don't like that there might be a brother because when we hear stories,
I don't like that there's a dad
or a brother, like, cause now we're hearing stories about things that go on at sleepovers. And I mean, I don't have to worry about it anymore because I mean, I guess my baby could start asking for sleepovers. I would encourage him no. And he says no. He's already worried about in 2 years when he goes to that school that he has to go to that sleepover place for 3 days. I'm like, you're going to be a lot more mature by then. It's going to be fine. He's like, do I have to go? I don't want to go and have a sleepover. Then I'm like, oh my God.
That's really funny.
Is really scary. We've heard a lot of things. And that's why we are very much like, you don't go to someone's house unless you have a phone with you that you have access to so you don't have to ask for the parent's phone.
Yeah.
I really don't like that. Like, I mean, what are they going to do? Excuse me, brother who's doing something bad. Could I borrow your phone and call my mom and tell her this is happening?
Yeah, I was just trying to think because, I have very, 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 very close situation in my family where, yes, someone was, and it wasn't sleepover situations. It was a trusted adult in their life, like a coach. And
coaches and teachers scare me too.
No, the dressing room, absolutely not being allowed in the dressing room. Even peer on peer, like just being uncomfortable in a situation. I think it's such our job to teach, in terms of how to teach your children their voices, their bodies, what feels uncomfortable. And I think so often we don't teach them their gut. Like we tell them to be like, give them a hug, be kind, like don't be rude. I think that, listening to your gut is so important. You can validate it in so many ways. And my son was hurt this weekend in hockey and it was sort of an expectation that he was going to play. We went there, he did the things and he got on the ice and he got off the ice right away and it killed him to get off the ice. But I said, I'm proud of you for listening to your body and not pushing through for the sake of
other people.
Yeah. I'm proud of you for taking care of yourself because, you matter most in situations where you're hurt or not. And he was like, well, I couldn't skate. I had to get off. And maybe that was the case, but I wanted to validate in that situation that
it doesn't need to be an emergency to make a decision for your body.
Yeah. And I think that we're always looking for ways. So as a parent listening, if there's any way, if they're, not feeling well and they call you, be like, I'm really proud of you for listening to your body to call me. Thank you for calling me, or, just honor rather than brushing it off, just try to validate that they trusted you to tell them, because I think so often they get confused whether or not, just like we're like, wait, was that weird? Was that not weird? I don't know what that was.
Yep.
They brush it off too. It's easier to brush it off than to make a big deal about it. And my niece was followed recently home in the city, and she didn't know what to do. And she wasn't sure if she was being followed, but they definitely felt like they were being followed. If you feel like you're being followed, you're being followed, especially if you don't feel like that every day. And she ran home. And those of you who are listening, teach your kids, if someone is following them, turn the other way. So if the car is going this way and they're walking that way, turn around and walk the other way, because if they're following you, they will turn around too, but at least you have time to book it. Then they're following you.
I'll never remember. I mean, listen, I used to walk home.
The cops said,
because
they called the cops eventually.
Yeah.
Always call us. We don't
care
really? if you're a kid.
Yeah.
Inconvenience us. If you don't feel safe, call us.
How long are they going to take in Toronto to pick up?
You know what? I just like that was the message
to
her.
Great.
Like, please, always, 100%. Your safety is number one. Call us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they'll do that for kids. Like, if you don't feel safe,
that's good.
Call us.
Yeah.
So that lesson was really important to her. And I told my kids, the cops said, don't be like, oh, I don't want it, because they're so nervous to call.
Get in trouble.
To call us.
Yeah.
So that's the lesson.
I was grade 1. I'll never forget. I used to walk to school alone in grade 1. And I remember that feeling of the car following me. I was halfway, like a block away from my house.
White van.
No, it was a regular car, and it was just going too slow. And they might have just been looking for an address. And I remember I ran back to my friend's house, and I was like, I'm going to walk with you guys. I feel like there's a car following me. But that was really
probably
young.
Were.
Yeah, it probably was. But I was trying to explain to kids instincts, because 2 things happen on my street outside of my house in the past few years. And they're like, both those situations could have been so normal. Like, how did you immediately know? And I was just trying to tell the kids, I'm like, if it doesn't feel right,
it's not.
And they're like, but what if you're wrong?
Who cares?
Be embarrassed, feel bad, do all those things, but better than have a fucking stranger in your house kidnapping you and taking you. But it's like, it's there.
And you know it. You don't even have to learn it to know it, but you have to help them.
You have to learn to not ignore it.
You have to, when I was 5, I was a little girl. I told you this, and I was riding my bike. And this is when you knew, because I don't think I was ever taught it. I was always with my brothers. They took off on me thinking it was funny. And I was in my neighborhood riding my bike. And I remember going by the car, and the car was stopped with one was in the driver's seat, and one had the back seat freaking open, the car door open, and was standing there. And he yells, "Excuse me, stop." And I stopped, but I was ahead of them. And I looked around, and they're like, "You dropped something out of your pocket." And then I looked, and I was like, "I don't have pockets." Like right away,
good.
I was like, "I don't have pockets." And I fucking pedaled as fast as I could home. And my nanny at the time was in the police, trying out for the police force. Jane was her name, and her hair was short, and she was big, and she was stocky. And she's like, where was it? Where was this? Immediately gets in the car, freaking peels around with me in the car.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Pulls up beside them, basically writes the intervention, just head to toe rips someone out of the thing. I don't even know if what they were doing was trying to take me, but right away my stomach was like I was going as fast as I can. She stood up for me. She believed me. She went and did something about it. And that probably validated that I could again go and listen to my instinct. And I think so often as parents, we are like, you're being ridiculous. Blah, blah, blah. Don't be so silly. Just listen to them and validate it. And be like, thank you for sharing. Even if you don't believe them, just be like, thank you for sharing with me. Leave it at that. Because, monster under your bed, not real. But you know what I mean.
Yeah. Like validate. And then also the other thing which is kind of crazy, but it's something for them to believe so they're not afraid of the world, that we learned from a parenting expert is, once you know your neighborhood and like your route and your way, also trust trust your community. So the
100%.
people that you know are good, use them and trust them. And if you don't feel safe, go to them. I was at the lights yesterday driving to my son's school. There was a boy standing at the bus stop. And it was a little bit raining, and he had my son's uniform on. And I played this in my head so many times. I was like, I know you don't know me, but I'm driving to the school, and he has to wait for the bus, and then he's got to go around, and he's late. I don't know if he had an appointment, but he was late. And I wanted to just be like, I know we don't know each other, but like, I'll give you a ride. And I wanted to do it so badly because I just look like a normal lady in a Volkswagen Atlas, like a normal mom. And I wonder, and if I'd said, oh, my son, would he have gotten in my car? Or would he have said no?
He probably, I'm good, thanks.
Yeah, I think he would have said, I'm good. Because he also probably doesn't want to drive with a mother he doesn't know for like 10 minutes.
No, I would have been like, I'm good, thanks. Thank
So
you,
would
though.
I, yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. No, I'm not going to school. I've been like, get the fuck in there. You're an adult. I don't want to talk to an adult.
I know. I just thought how convenient. He could have been at school in 2 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't, because I thought he'd say no anyways, because I'll never forget when I left my house. I was in my 20s. I was still living at home and I was working downtown. And my neighbor 3 doors down was a man, and he had a wife and they had young kids. And he asked me one day, you're going downtown, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, do you want to ride? And he had like a cool, fancy car. And I was like, no, I'm okay. Because I just thought to myself,
then I'm going to have to do it every single time.
But not only that, like, I'm in my early 20s. I'm pretty hot. You're not very old. Like, his wife was probably like, maybe they were like early 30s.
You're not safe with me, and I'm not safe with you.
You're not asking everybody if they want to ride, and you don't know where I work.
So you said no.
I said no, but I knew in that moment.
You're a pervert.
Why was like, yeah, you're a pervert, or you and I are going to get it on.
Anyways, to wrap it up, because it is 35 minutes. If we teach our kids to listen to their instincts, hopefully they won't get enamored by parties where they know it's wrong and aren't confused if it's right or wrong. Hopefully.
And hopefully.
Well, if you're drugged, you can't do much.
And
but
hopefully, if it's not us, there's always somebody that they can tell if they feel uncomfortable with something, or if they feel, because they might not always feel comfortable talking to their friends about it, and they might not feel comfortable talking to you about it. I know, I love how the experts always say, like, have an aunt, have like a sister, have someone. And obviously my kids have you. I do hope that when things are really big that they can come to me.
They also have each other, to be honest with you. It's why if you keep like the siblings, you know,
they'll drop things to each other, and the other sibling might be like, wait, what?
I got through life with my siblings. You know, we shared everything. Really, it normalizes your journey, makes you feel less alone. If you're siblings and you can share the situations, it really is like it is a buffer. Everyone needs a buffer in their life, whether it's like you said, aunt, uncle.
And even if, like last night, one of my kids said to the other kid, I love you so much, and the other one said, I hate you, get out of my room. You know, that was yesterday, and
that was love language. They know that. They know
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
Were they fighting?
No.
Oh,
get out of my room.
Okay.
But I love you. Get out of my room.
That's
sad.
What friends are for.
That's sad.
Yeah. Okay. Find us on tour. We'll see you guys soon.